Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Leonardo Camargo. This first slide here, it's from Sandra Graham, the AT advocate. Shows a picture of her smiling, and it says, quote, "Tell them about CDBG and HISA." Again, that's Sandra Graham, the AT advocate at the Disability Resource Agency for Independent Living. And Sandra is not here, as you could tell, but she asked me to accept this Oscar on her behalf. Anyway, she said she wasn't able to make it, but about CDBG, she said you can get the Community Development Block Grants through municipalities. By the way, I'm going to run through real quick just 2 points that she made, and then you'll be able to get these notes later, so don't worry about trying to type it all right now. So first, the Community Development Block Grants. She said you're able to get those through municipalities and counties as a grant that an ILC can apply for to help people with funding home modifications. Another thing that she mentioned was the Veteran Administration has HISA, which grants are awarded up to $2,000. Depends if your client is, your consumer is a veteran or whatever condition it might be. So it's, and oh, one more thing, the USDA Rural Development, they also have a grant and loan program for home rehab improvements. Those are just 3 points that she made. She has a whole list. She's a real treasure herself, and she has so much information that you guys will be able to get later. And again, she's sorry that she can't be here, but she wanted to make sure you guys knew about those important points. And now Jorge will take over on his part of AT funding.
Okay, thank you, Leonardo. Hi, this is Jorge from Central Coast Center for Independent Living in Salinas. We serve Monterey County, Santa Cruz, and San Benito County. And so what I'll be talking about today is my approach when I meet with consumers, and it's what it has to deal with assistive technology. And in the slide, there's a picture of me and a picture of our logo. Okay, so when consumers give us a call, every single consumer normally starts as an information or referral consumer, which means that they call the center if they had a specific question about assistive technology, or they were referred to us by another service provider. So if that consumer becomes active and the consumer wants to pursue in getting assistive technology, needs our assistance, normally we go through the whole intake process. So during the intake process is where I look into the possibility. So what can I use from the information that you provide so that we can look for funding? So the things that I look at that are the most important are the disability, the age, the location, other providers that the consumer is working with, and what is it that consumer wants to accomplish. When it comes to disability, I have found that there's many different disability related foundations or grants out there. I remember a couple of years ago, I was looking into the Brain Injury Association of America, and they had a grant for TBI survivors, and if somebody needed $200 or $300 to purchase a device in order to help them with scheduling and memorizing, they could apply for that funding. So that's some research that I did in regards to specific disability, and I came across that grant. The other thing is age. Most of our consumers at the Independent Living Center are from 25 to say 55 years of age. And what I have found is that sometimes there's assistance out there for youth, maybe between 14 and 26, and for seniors. So I try to reach out to organizations that work with youth or work with seniors. For example, here locally, I have been reaching out through a senior agency that they provide emergency funding assistance to seniors. So the way that I've been working with that, I've been saying this specific assistive technology is necessary for this consumer, and I have been able to find funding that way. The other one is with location. We serve 3 areas, and we have multiple cities. Specifically with home modifications, I know that Leonardo talked a little bit about CDBG. Every city, every county is different. Here in our city of Salinas, the city of Marina, city of Capitola, they offer community development block action grants, where if you own your own property, you need a home modification, you can get up to, let's say, $14,000 in free funding to do that home modification. Some cities offer only $500, let's say, for home modification. The other thing is other providers. So if you do have consumers that work with other providers that may fund assistive technology, and that could be a regional center, and it could be the Department of Rehabilitation, so that I always try to find out that what is it that consumer is trying to do, what is he trying to accomplish. And for example, is the consumer trying to go back to school, and that's the reason that he needs assistive technology? In my case, many consumers that come from DOR, their goal is to go back to school. So I try to figure out what devices they might need in order for them to go back to school, so I can help them out. And at CCCIL, we have a device lending library, and the device lending libraries are also available to anyone in the state of California. So I try to let consumers know about the devices that are available, have them try them out, and then make their case with their counselor or their service coordinator. Look, this consumer has borrowed this device. It is helping them a lot, and if they continue to use it, it might lead for them, it might lead to their employment goals. So that's a little bit about overall. So now what I'm going to talk about is a couple of success stories that I had when funding assistive technology. So one of my first success stories that I had was with a consumer who was living in our nursing home. And I met this consumer. He came to the office. He wanted to transition out of the nursing home. It took about 3 years. It finally happened last month, but this was at the beginning. And when I met with this consumer, I was in his room at the nursing home, and he wanted to change the channel on the television. And I asked, well, how do you normally do that? And he said, well, I call the nurse, and they do it for me. And at the end of the night, they set the TV on timer, and it turns up by itself. So then I remember that Steve had mentioned something about the Voice Me device, which is a universal remote control. So we looked into this device, and it turns out that it was $500. And there was this whole package that was close to, let's say, $2,000. And of course, when you're in a nursing home, you only get about $30 a month. If you're a benefit of SSI or SSDI, the nursing home gets most of your money. So you only have about $30. So of course, we didn't have any money for it. So what I did, I started to look into how we could potentially get this device for the consumer. And I remember I found the Change a Life Foundation. I think it was out of LA, somewhere in Southern California. And we had to apply through one of their partners, because one of their partners, we were able to apply because they took applications from anywhere. But I don't know the case. I don't think they do that anymore. And we applied for funding. It took about 1.5 years, but he funded this device. After we tried it out and he got this device for the first time, he was able to change the channels on his television or use Netflix with his voice. So that was pretty cool. At the same time, on another occasion, I was with a consumer, and he called the nurse because he wanted to drink water. And once again, I asked, well, normally somebody has to do this for you. He said, yes. So we tried to figure out what is out there that can help him so that he can drink water whenever he wants. So we found from the same company this modified Camelback system, and it was about $300. And once again, we needed money. So we went online and we did a crowdsource campaign through modestneeds.org, I think that it was. And within 72 hours, a couple of people had donated, and he got this device. So in this particular situation, I didn't know the devices that were out there. The consumer didn't know that what was out there, but someone just, he just said, no, I have this problem, and we started to look for solutions, and we were able to find it. So a lot of it is going on Google and searching. So my next success story, this is my consumer. She's 21 now, so my consumer has a disability. I think it's fibromatosis. She's one of 70 people in the world with this type of disability. And in 2013, I remember I told her about the Abilities Expo. And she went to the Abilities Expo in San Jose, and she saw this robot, this arm, I think it's a Jayco. And she came back and she said, wow, this arm's really cool, I want one. And of course, the sticker price is around $40,000–$50,000. So at that time, I didn't know how to help her. So I told her, well, you should try doing a crowdsource funding campaign. And she had already started that. So she just continued to do that. And before you knew it, she was able to fundraise about $44,000. There was multiple organizations that helped her out. There was a local club that helped her find $10,000. So she did most of it too. So one thing is that when our consumers work with us, they set a goal, and they work towards that goal, and we try to help them too. So in this case, the consumer did most of the work. I just kind of introduced her to the device, and I saw her use it, and it's actually pretty cool. Success story number 2. So the same consumer that I helped with that water device, he was able to transition out of the nursing home, and one of the biggest obstacles was the main entry into his apartment. So we were looking into funding to modify his apartment, and one thing we noticed is that here in the state of California, we have the community transitions projects, and there's lead organizations out there in every county that help with nursing home transition. And we didn't have one at that time in our area, but when the consumer was ready to move from a nursing home back into his apartment, which we helped them out in finding, it took about 2 years to find housing, we approached this organization, and together we worked, and we were able to apply for funding, and consumer got a bunch of devices to help them live more independently. And one of the systems that he got was this Quartet system, which is it's an environmental control system that you're able to turn on lights, turn on lamps, control anything with an infrared connection. And at the same time, he got a front automatic door opener, a back sliding door opener, and a whole bunch of different gadgets. So it's always about networking and collaborating with other agencies. And I think this consumer, he was able to get close to $15,000 to $25,000 worth of assistive technology through this program. And there's still some devices that he's getting. He got a Tecla Shield, he got a Quad Joy, he got all kinds of assistive technology. Success story number 3. Once again, age, it's very important. So whenever consumers call and they need funding or need assistance, one of the I always ask is, how old are you? Because they might be funding related to age. I had a consumer who called about a month ago, and they needed assistance with liftware. They knew specifically about liftware, which is surprising because not a lot of people know about liftware. I need liftware. I have Parkinson's and I have a hard time eating. That's what she told me over the phone. So right away I said, okay, well, I think I know how we could get this funded. So we applied for emergency funding through a senior organization, and she was able to get this device. And those are my 3 success stories. That's really my approach, is about researching, making a connection with the consumer, finding out what's out there, and just researching and brainstorming with all the available things that might be out there. That's really all I have.
Okay, thank you, Jorge, very much for that thorough explanation of how to approach when a client comes in and they have a need for an AT device, and you got to figure out how to fund it. And the success stories are great. I mean, again, Hotah and Sandra are they're stellar at what they do, and they are good examples for the rest of us. Now, let me introduce myself. My name is Leonardo Camargo. I am the Assistive Technology Coordinator at the Center for Independence here in San Mateo. For those of you outside of Silicon Valley, it's in the Silicon Valley. That's where we are. We're in the Silicon Valley. So, my approach, I'm going to give you more about the approach of how to approach AT funding. Okay, and my part of it, and I'm showing a slide here with, I'm on the left, and I'm looking a little bit clueless, and on the right is Jorge, who's waving to the audience. And it's called How to Make $1 Out of 15 Cents Without Using the 5-Finger Discount or Begging. And it has our CID logo here at the bottom. So I'm the person on the left, and I was actually really sick that day. So if the picture, my face is pretty swollen, and I was losing my voice. So it was actually hilarious that this is the picture they chose for this workshop. Okay, this next slide shows Joe Pesci looking at the camera. It's a screenshot from the Goodfellas, where he has that kind of look on his face like, what you going to do for me, huh? What you going to do for me? So, and the quote there says, can I borrow a pen? You know, that's a reference to one of the movies where he kills someone with a pen, but anyway. Joe Pesci here, the reason I put this here is because it's the approach that I need to take. So this is a question you need to think about when you approach asking a vendor for money or asking someone for a free device. It's, you know, put yourself in their shoes. What you're going to do for me. So as I go through the next few slides, just think, you know, what can you do for the person you're asking for money or for an AT device? So my approach here is really just be prepared to say thanks. How are you going to say thanks? So just think about that. So now this is showing This slide here is showing a picture of a rhythm power wheelchair. It's focused in on the tires and the batteries and the brand Rhythm at the front, at the sticker, the emblems on there. And I put this here because there are a lot of players involved. If I am asking, for instance, this is actually from a success story of mine, where I needed batteries for this power wheelchair. Excuse me, I needed repairs for this power wheelchair. So there's a lot of people that are involved in the ask. I can look at the manufacturer, the person who actually makes it, and I ended up calling them to figure out, okay, well, how can I get this fixed? Where can I go? The distributor, the person who sold it, someone like New Motion or Wheelchairs of San Mateo or your local wheelchair distributor, and stores themselves. Maybe there's, like if you're going to get batteries, you go to a battery store and try to negotiate with them. So when you're, I should say, when I was learning about this process, still am learning, there are a lot of people involved. So don't just approach it with just, okay, I need this fixed, I need to go to a vendor right away and get it fixed. I mean, there's different people involved in that chain, so you can ask many people. And so I say just break it down. Break it down how, what is it you need? Break it down. If you need batteries, then you have those 3 people to look at, the manufacturer, distributor, a battery store, hit them all up. Here's a screenshot from the movie Creed, and it shows Michael B. Jordan there shadowboxing and Sylvester Stallone side by side shadowboxing training. I call this a 3-punch combo with an in-person knockout. So you have the phone call, the all-powerful phone call, mail, snail mail, as in writing letters, email, and when you're in person, you go over, you finish with a smile. So these are the 4, there's a 3-punch combo with an in-person knockout, because that's how you need to approach it. This is about the attack. How are you going to attack when you want to get, someone comes to you and they need a device? How are you going to approach this? You're going to approach it with a boom, 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 pow. And that's how I see this. When I get a client in, I try to think of, okay, we have our need, I know what to ask for, and I first make the phone call. And then I have a template to use, and I just change, you know, the address and, you know, the details, but it's the same relative template in asking them how, asking for either a discount or asking for a free device. I follow up with an email. And if they're local, I visit them. That way I can say, hey, I left your voicemail, did you get my letter, did you get my email, and have that letter printed out just in case too, and say, oh, here, and go in with a smile and say, yeah, I sent you these things a week or 2 ago, wanted to follow up. So to me, they will always find a way to respond to that, because that shows that you really are coming in prepared, and vendors like that. This is a social media graphic. It says, thank you Freerider USA for your generous AT donation. And it has an elf, gingerbread cookies, snowman smiling, and our Independent Living Center's logo at the bottom. This is what I call a social media blast. A lot of times you hear about people online, they blast, you know, whatever, for the wrong reasons, JetBlue or someone else, when they have bad experience. JetBlue is really good. But if you have a bad experience at anywhere at Walmart, you put it online and you just say, oh, this was a terrible experience. Well, this is the opposite. When you have a great experience, you need to show them love, and you would just blast them. And that's something you also come prepared with. This is part of the thank you. It was Christmas time. This is a success story here. There was a scooter we needed for us. A client had the scooter, but they needed the battery. The battery is $500. I don't know if you're familiar with Loogie scooters, but they're exorbitantly expensive for new battery. But they're really small, they're really light, it's great. So they got the scooter, but they needed to buy the battery. So I contacted, tried to find Loogie, tried to find the manufacturer, tried to find where they bought it, or where it was bought. I couldn't find anyone. Then when I tracked down, I found that was Freerider USA is the distributor in California for Loogie scooters. And Loogie, which I should probably spell as L-U-G-G-I-E, Loogie scooters, distributors Free Rider USA down in, I believe, Rancho Cucamonga. And I'm in Northern California, so it's not like I could just go knock on their door. I wrote them several emails. I called them, and they had said they'd get back to me, and this is over the course of about a month and a half. Then, early December, in the true holiday season, holiday spirit, they returned my email and said, sorry for the delay. We're actually just going to give you the battery. Here's the $500 battery. Just pay shipping, ended up being $30. And I said, definitely, thank you so much. And I had this template made in Canva. So I don't have graphic design. You know, I can barely draw stick figures. But there's a website called Canva, canva.com, and as a nonprofit, you can get the free upgrade to collaborate at work. And they have these designs, and so it's really easy to do. And so I had that, and I put them on Twitter and Facebook, and I just blasted them. And on our website, we said, thank you, Free Rider USA, for your generous donation, and just showing them a lot of love. And I wrote an email back to them saying, hey, this is, after I mailed them a letter, thank you, I said, hey, by the way, here's our website, here's our Facebook, here's our Twitter, and you guys are at the top with this thank you image, and they were really grateful about that. So this is stuff that you already have in your bag, and really the next time someone donates something or has a generous donation like that, I can easily just switch out their company logo, and that way I don't spend more than half an hour of editing that. Now, that same question that we thought about before, the approach. Okay, what you going to do for me? This is a picture of Joe Pesci again looking at the camera saying, like, all right, what you going to do for me? And I know my accent's pretty bad, but hey. And so what's it going to be? What are you going to do? What are you going to give the vendor? What kind of benefits how can you benefit them? Put yourself in their shoes. Now this next slide shows Marlon Brando, Vito Corleone, in The Godfather. And the famous quote, I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse, from The Godfather. If you come with that approach to the vendor, you say, look, I got this. Why wouldn't you want free press on social media? Why wouldn't you want your logo on our website? Why wouldn't you want these things that we'll give to you if you're able to give us the device or give us a discount or donate money to this cause? Be prepared, but my approach here, if you got to come away with this, is just to come with that approach of the AT world is ours. This is ours. You got this. Money that is an issue, but we can approach it with the why wouldn't they help us? And you have these tools, these resources to give them as well, and they need that. They need that press. They need those things. Why wouldn't they work with you? Why would they refuse you? And when you go on that approach, most likely they will find a way to either refer you to another person or another resource, or to give it to you the device for free. This last slide is a picture of me zoomed in from the previous picture at the Reuse conference where my face is swollen and I'm totally sick and I can barely talk. But I don't know if anyone here has heard the musical Hamilton or been to Broadway and seen the musical Hamilton, which is probably $18,000 a year. But there's a line that really rang with me there, and he says, in his frustration, when his chips are down, he says, when my prayers were answered with indifference, I picked up a pen, I wrote my own deliverance. I picked up a pen, I wrote my own deliverance. And to me, that says, yeah, we don't have money. Yeah, a lot of our centers are broke. Yeah, not that we're broke, but that we don't have these funds to buy these $30,000 prosthetic arms. But there's all these resources out there. Pick up that pen. Create your own destiny. That approach is how I feel us as AT advocates or people in the community that really want to find funding for AT devices. That's the approach that we need. Because I started out with it's impossible. There's no way to find this much funding for all these things. Things are too expensive, and how am I going to ask people for money? that is finally evolved to this approach. I picked up a pen, I wrote my own deliverance. And I think everyone here, you're more than welcome to contact me, and for those templates, especially for things like Canva and other graphic design free software, web software. But I'll make myself available if you need anything. And thank you for listening to this webinar.